I need to file a police report because Ibiza stole my heart. My final 2 weeks there were beyond awesome. I finally went to Amnesia, which is an Ibiza veteran's favorite. A bunch of people I work with and I attended the Paradise opening party, which happens weekly on Wednesdays. When I got in, I was by myself for a bit, so I got a little brave and stood up on a platform and started dancing. I had so much fun. Honestly, if I could get a job as one of those go-go dancers, that would be such a blessing. Later, I found everybody else and we were all dancing in a big group for hours. Time of my life! Although I was having more fun than ever in my free time, this week I hardly made any money and I realized that I'll probably be going home soon. So, I started living it the fuck up. I still tried my best as a party promoter during the day, but I stepped it up as a fun haver in my free time. I went to the beach more, I talked to more people. I decided I'm on my worst behavior, which is funny because all that meant for me is instead of 0 alcohol, I was having some, no hangovers, and I downloaded Tinder and flirted with more guys in person. And I'm glad I did, because I met so many incredible men. They weren't just hot either, they were so kind and intelligent and fun to be around. I cannot get over it, yet at least. I also spent more time with my roommates, which are all such lovely people. I feel fortunate to have met them and lived with them. On one of our days off, we had a team beach day. I initially planned to skip it, but I'm so glad I went. Someone brought badminton rackets and I enjoyed playing for a really long time. Fun fact about me is I was on the badminton team in high school, and if you're wondering, I'm still really, really good. I would totally join a league now if I found one. Since I did download Tinder, I went on a few dates. Some were decent. I met a couple of really cool Italian guys and we had drinks. But I also went to meet up with this one guy and left the date immediately after seeing him. I don't regret it. Time is precious. But in truth, even though I had fun meeting guys from dating apps, I had better connections with the men I met in person. I don't struggle with flirting, so it's relatively easy for me to meet people. And I prefer it because then there aren't all those unanswered questions like, will he like what I look like, or my voice, or my attitude? All that is already sorted. In my last week, I went to some daytime pool parties. The first one was at Ibiza Rocks Hotel. Honestly, at first, I was not enjoying the music as much. As the evening went on, the headliner came on and it gave what needed to be given. The pool parties are a great way to spend a day in Ibiza. If you want to just have some drinks and take it easy by the pool, you can totally do that, but you can also dance and be a little more active. On the island of Ibiza, I lived in the town of San Antonio, which is a mostly British area with a lot of Irish and Scottish people as well. This town draws a lot more of a younger and rowdy crowd. What interested me a lot was Ibiza Old Town. It's way more my vibe and my pace. When I go back, that's where I would like to be ideally. I did go there by myself one day for just a few hours. It's so dang beautiful and has so many adorable shops. By the way, my tip is that if you're coming to Ibiza and you have a clothing budget, just get all your party and beach outfits here. There are countless gorgeous and adorable options. Plus, those clothes can be your souvenir. Another place I finally checked out was Pacha. Pacha is the first and oldest nightclub on the island. It's also the only one that stays open all year round instead of just the summer season. There are Pacha clubs in cities all around the world, but this is the first one, and this year is its 50th anniversary. Needless to say, I've been really looking forward to going. We went for Camelphat, but only stayed for an hour. I had a blast and definitely wanted more. The next day, I went to see my friend Morgan DJ at Obeach. There were a bunch of us there to support him. Morgan is such a cool, ambitious young guy. I'm so proud of and inspired by him. He totally knocked it out of the park with his set. He has also DJ'd other events on the island, and I love seeing people going after their dreams. Obeach is another daytime pool party venue. I loved the aquatic performers, and for me personally, Obeach was more fun as a venue than Ibiza Rocks. I really appreciate those decorative and performative elements that add to a memorable party experience. I'm not done with it yet, but I've been listening to this audiobook called The Art of Gathering. I think this is one of those books that absolutely everyone should check out. It talks about having a purpose for meetings, how we structure them, the spoken and unspoken rules, and so much more that inspires me to host my own events and make them meaningful and memorable for others. Especially after being in Ibiza and attending so many cool events, I want to contribute my own creativity in this area. Speaking of creativity in areas, I loved going to Pikes. It used to be a mansion that hosted sex parties. Over the years, it has become more commercialized and now it's just a hotel, restaurant, and club space. However, walking around, I could totally picture people having sex everywhere. One of my favorite things about it was that it's for people 25 and over. Having spent so much time around young people lately, I found it refreshing to be with people closer to my own age. My last Friday on the island of Ibiza, I met up with my friend Khan in Ibiza town. We were trying to walk to the harbor in hopes of finding someone to take us on a boat, but ended up finding ourselves hiking up this breathtakingly gorgeous hill. We spent the whole evening doing this, really taking our time and stopping every once in a while to sit and chat and appreciate the beauty all around. This evening, I felt so bonded and connected to the island itself. It's such a magical place, and Khan is really nice because she actually shares what she thinks about me to me, which very few people do. After, we had dinner and met up with some of Khan's friends who were staying in a villa. So I got to check going to a villa off my Ibiza bucket list. The next day, I went back to San Antonio and tried but failed to secure an apartment in hopes of staying here for the rest of the season. Much like the Florida Keys, the hardest part about living here is finding housing. Once you have that, getting a job is quite easy. I didn't film it, but I went to the beach again the next day, and on the way home, this guy stopped me and invited me to go to Pacha. I was iffy about it until the nighttime when I ran into someone else who's going and decided to add myself to the guest list. I headed to Pacha with a guy who asked me out, but had to ditch him once I got there because he was being way too touchy and not reading my body language in the cab. I ended up dancing by myself for hours at the Claptone masquerade. I couldn't be more happy that I did that. To me, singing and dancing are one of the highest expressions of being a human. I think dancing is spiritual, and while dancing alone in that crowd, I really felt like I was at church, connecting to God in an intimate and profound way. My final night in Ibiza, after having drinks with some of my roommates, I went to Amnesia completely alone. I took the disco bus and walked in to Pyramid, which is the name of the Sunday night party. I wore my party hat. Once inside, one of the rooms was super packed and played more hardstyle music. The terrace had better music for me to dance to, but was half empty, which made me nervous. As the night went on, I relaxed more and really got into it though. It was so fun, and everyone around was so nice and friendly. It ended up being the perfect final night. I could not have asked for better. The next day, I said my goodbyes to all the amazing people I met here and to the island itself and was on my way. This entire week was such a dream, and I wish I could go back and work the rest of the season. Someone asked me what my favorite part was, and I have to say, it's the people. I can't wait for part 2.